We are Cupcakes and Campfires, and we're coming at you from Ohio. Been on the road for about a month and a half, and you'll have to pardon the landscaping noise at my brother's house, and we have a neighbor that's landscaping, so.
We've been on the road almost 6 weeks and have been based in North America, traveling by a sedan. Have been mostly in the US, but also went into Canada, into British Columbia and Alberta before coming back into the US at Glacier National Park. We've covered about 5,000 miles or 8,000 kilometers at least. That was around the 1 month mark. And our budget of $150 a day, which is about $50 each per day, we've surprisingly kept to. We're running at about $131 per day, which is a great relief.
We've had a lot of gracious people welcoming us into their homes, so that has taken the financial burden off. We've done a lot of camping to decrease the costs. We've done couch surfing, and that's pretty much it so far as far as accommodation types to keep the budget down. So things that have gone well, things that haven't gone well. Let's talk about that.
Things have gone well, as we only had to stop once for vehicle repairs, getting 2 new tires and oil change and the basics. Things that have gone well are that we have seen a lot of people and caught up with a lot of people on the road and seen a lot of things that we may have briefly seen before but got another look at, and a lot of things that we had never seen before. So those are all positives and pluses.
So things that haven't gone well. Although we have been planning this journey for about 2 years, we didn't really talk about the timeline of things. So the first month was a whirlwind because we scheduled a lot in and didn't allocate enough time at each area. So we had set up various deadlines to be in certain places at specific times. So then therefore, when we were at a place where we wanted to spend more time, we couldn't because we knew we had to keep rolling along. So that was a downside.
A lot of time in the car, which is to be expected when you're covering those kind of distances. But like we just said, if we could spread those miles out a little bit and not spend as many hours in the car on some days, then that probably would be a piece of advice that we'd give people, is to space it out a little bit, have less deadlines, or be less ambitious with what you want to see and how far you're going to travel via vehicle in a car.
Another area of frustration has been packing the car. Everything has its place, and if you need something that's already packed and it takes you 15 minutes to unpack it just to get that one item, that's been an area of frustration. But that's because we chose to use a sedan. That's what we had. The other car that we had that was a truck SUV was older and wasn't as reliable as the sedan, so we sold the SUV and we are going with the sedan.
Which is, the problem came from everything fit, but it wasn't a functional fit. So we've tried to improve that as we've gone and repacked probably 3 or 4 times. Pulled it all out, put it all back in, taken out a handful of stuff and tried to make it more efficient, but still have room for improvement on that.
We've given away a lot of stuff that we haven't used. If we haven't used it in the month, we know it's not something that we're going to use, so we need to get rid of it. We've already downsized quite a bit, going from a house to a car, but we still have areas that we could shed.
Yeah. Another frustration, or another part that has become a lot more work than we anticipated, mostly because of access to Wi-Fi and to phone services in Canada, is keeping our social media account as active as we would like it.
And our website.
So bear with us on that.
We're learning.
We're getting better at it and learning a lot of new tricks.
Learned a lot.
But certainly it's time that we need to set aside on a trip like this, having made the decision to supplement our journey with our story and the information that we're trying to share. One of our early posts was on the topic of homeschooling our child, which we had made certain plans and accommodations for, but the reality hits you when you're on the road in a vehicle for many hours a day and visiting different places and different people and trying to find some element of routine in what you do. So there's been some very interesting conversations and battles from the front and back seat of the car. But what we are trying to do is keep consistency with those elements of his skill and education that need to be maintained for him to progress. We
set an expectation that he has to do something academic every single day. So his biggest complaint is that he doesn't get a summer break because we started from day one with, you're going to be doing math, you're going to be doing reading, you're going to be learning history or something about the area that we are visiting. So that has been a challenge in certain subjects more than others.
Right. One of the great things that we have utilized is the National Parks Junior Ranger program, which is where in the U.S. national parks they have designated workbook and designated tasks and activities that the children, or anyone between, I think it was 5 and 99 years old, as described by one ranger, can fill out the workbook and earn a title of Junior Ranger, in which case they have a little ceremony, sworn in and issued a badge, which is something that is easy to motivate our son to do. So it has been a great thing that he looks forward to, and it certainly gives a little bit of ease for us in what we're trying to do on the other aspects of his education.
Like we mentioned, we're in Ohio, which is originally where I'm from. I'm from a small suburb about 20 miles south of Cleveland, so it's great to be back here. I moved out west about 15 years ago, so it's really good to be back and see how the city has changed. All the new businesses that have come in, lots of different breweries, which he is very interested in. He's a home brewer, so he likes to do research. But all the different trendy shops and restaurants and coffee shops that have popped up throughout the area, it's great to see how Cleveland has changed. And it's been amazing to visit with family. Like I said earlier, we had a party last night, so we got to see everybody all at one time and get to visit and hang out, and it was like the old times when I was little. So it's cool.
Beyond our time exploring the East Coast, we have a tentative date set for exiting the US, in which case we are only taking what we can carry on the international portion of the trip. We're keeping it quite open-ended, and even at this point, we do not know exactly which country is next.
Where are we going to be?
We will continue to update our website and keep notifications flowing for the things we have seen, so keep checking that out and subscribe. Otherwise,
We'll be seeing ya.